In this year 2025, if you are still dividing your hip by 4 if you want to make a skirt, then you need to watch this video. Hi guys, welcome back again to another video. Today's tutorial will be on how to cut and sew a pencil skirt with hip or butt contour. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please continue watching and don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video to your family and friends. So let's get started. For this skirt, these are the materials you need to get to make your own. So here I have a zip here. This is my zipper. You can use any zipper of your choice, and this is the African print. This is the Ankara we are using. I have 2 years of Ankara here, and this one here is the lining. So let's get started. These are the measurements you need to take for this skirt. You need to take your round waist and hip, your waist to the hip, your waist to the knee, and your skirt length. Make sure you take all these measurements. So now let's start with the front. You are going to fold your fabric into 2 when you want to cut the front. To know the amount of fabric you are going to fold, remember we are not doing hip divided by 4 this time around. You are going to take your round hip. The round hip I'm working with is 47. You are going to divide that 47 by 2. So if I divide the 47 by 2, I will have 23.5. Now that 23.5, you are going to remove 1 inch from it. So if I remove the 1 inch, I will have 22.5. So now you take the 22.5, you are going to divide it into 2 again because we are cutting the front on fold. So now after you get the 22.5, you divide it into 2, you will have 11.25. So that is the amount of fabric you are going to fold for the front. But because we need seam allowance on the side, so I will add 1.5 inch for the seam allowance. So in total, I have 12.75. That is 12.75. After folding the fabric into 2, I will check to make sure I have 12.75 there, then I'll cut it out. Bear in mind that this skirt will not be having a band, but if you want to put band on your skirt, you are going to remove 2 inches for the band. So it means from the waistline, you are coming down by 8 inches instead of 10 inches. If you want to add upper parts to the skirt length, you are going to put your shoulder to the waistline, you put it on that line, and you are going to mark your shoulder to your hip line. That is how you are going to be doing it. But this is a skirt, I'm not making a gown, so I come down from the waistline by 10 inches. So I will connect that line into a straight line. After that, the next line you need to take now will be the waist to the knee line. The waist to the knee line is 22 inches, so I'm going to mark 22 inches. If you don't remember to take your waist to the knee line, you can divide your full length of the skirt by 2. So now I'm taking my full length. So I place my tape on the waistline, then I will mark my full length, the length of the skirt, which is 42 inches. I'll connect it to have a straight line as well. Then from that line, I will add 2 inches to it for the seam allowance on the hem line. So I've marked the 2 inches. I'll connect it to have a straight line as well. So if I want to fold it now, this is how I'm going to fold it. You can decide to use the whole length, the remaining allowance for the folding. Remember, we are still going to add our lining to it. Now come to the waistline. You are going to input your waist divided by 4 plus 1.5. Bear in mind that I will not be putting that on this skirt, but if you are putting that, make sure you add your 1 inch dart. So on the waistline now, The waist is 40 divided by 4 is 10. I'll add extra 1.5 inch seam allowance. That will give me 11.5. So I mark 11.5. Now come to the hip line. Remember the measurements we calculate when we are cutting the fabric out. Now you are going to input the measurements now. So on my hip line, I will mark the 11.25. After that, I will add 1.5 inch for the seam allowance. After that, you are going to connect your hip to meet the waistline. You are going to connect them. I made a mistake when I'm marking it. So when you are marking your own, make sure you connect the actual waist measurements to the hip measurement. Now come to the knee line. You are going to divide your hip by 4. Then you are going to remove 1.5 from that measurement. But if you want it to be 2 pencil, you can remove 2 inches or 2.5 inch. After marking now, you are going to connect the knee to the hip line. But before you connect it, from the hip line, come down by 1 inch. Then you are going to connect the knee to the hip line like that. From that 1 inch, you are going to connect it to meet the knee. Now check whatever you have on the knee line and you are going to mark it on the hem line. So I have 11.75 there. So I mark the 11.75 on the hem line and I'm going to mark it down. After that, you are going to take your straight ruler and you are going to connect all the points. You are going to connect it into a straight line. So here, this is what we have now. After that, I will cut it out. Don't forget to cut out the excess on the hem also. So now you are going to fold the allowance like this. Then you notch it. This is what we have for the front. Now we need to fold another fabric into 2 for the back. So to know the amount of fabric you are going to fold for the back, make sure that you add 3 inches, extra 3 inches to whatever you have for the front. So this is it here. I already fold it into 2 and in total here I have 15.75. When the measurements we use to fold the front is 12.75, so you add 3 inches to that. That will give us 15.75. So this is what I have here, and as you can see, I already fold it into 2. So now I'm going to place the front on the back now. So this is how you are going to place it. You place it in such a way that you have excess. That excess, make sure is at the center front. That folded part, that is where the 3 inches will be. So here I've placed the front on the back now, and this is what we have. I'm going to arrange it very well. Then come to the hip line now, and you are going to extend the hip to the allowance we have for the back. After that, this is what we have. You are going to extend the knee part. You are going to extend the knee also. After marking now, you will come to the hip line. This is the hip line here. Remember, this is the actual measurement before we add the allowance to it, the actual hip measurement. So if you want to take the back measurements now, you are starting from this line, the actual measurement. So now let's do the calculation for the back. So now you are going to divide the hip by 2. Hip divided by 2 is 23.5. That 1 inch that you remove for the front, you are going to add it back now. So if you add the 1 inch to it, that will give us 24.5. That 24.5, you are going to divide it into 2 now. Remember, we are folding the back into 2 also. After dividing it into 2, I will have 12.75. So the answer is 12.75. That is what you are going to be marking. But because I like to add ease to it, so I'll be adding extra 0.5 to it. In total, I have 13 inches. So from the actual measurements we mark for the front, that is where you will be starting your measurement for the back. So you have placed my tape now on the actual measurement, and that is where I will be marking my 13 inches. So I will mark 13 inches to the back. So this is it now. So now this is it here. If you check, the extra allowance we have there is 1.5 inch, and we had the 1.5 inch on it. So now I will take that measurement. Now I'm going to take it to the waistline at the back. So I'm going to take it with a curve. Make sure you use a curved. After connecting it, this is what we have now. So from this place now, you are going to mark 1 inch, and this 1 inch will be for the zipper allowance. You come to the hip line as well. You are going to mark 1 inch for zipper allowance. So you come to the knee line. This is the knee here. You are going to mark 1 inch for zipper allowance also. That 1 inch, you are going to take it to the hem of the fabric. You are going to add the 1 inch for the zipper allowance. After that, you connect it to have a straight line from the knee to the hem of the fabric. After that, you are going to take your curve rule and you are going to connect the zipper allowance from the hip to the waistline. Make sure you are using the curved part, not the straight line. So this is it now, and you are going to come to this point. This is the hip and the knee line. You will check what you have there. I have 12 inches. I'm going to mark the center of that. That is 6 inches. From that part now, I will mark 1 inch for the zipper allowance. After that, I will connect it with my curved ruler. Now I'm going to curve it like this. So now, as you can see, it's already given the back shape here. So this is it here. This is what we have now. That is the only difference from the front and the back. So this is it now, and you are going to connect it like this. This is how this place is going to be. So this is the actual line, and the second line is the zipper allowance. So this is what we have now. After that, I'm going to cut it out. After cutting, don't forget to notch this hem allowance, the 2 inches we added to the hem. So this is what we have for the front and the back now. This is it here. Make sure you notch the zipper allowance on the back. After that, this is it here. You are going to remove the front from the back. I'll go ahead to cut the lining for it now. I'll cut the lining off the camera, then come back. So here, this is the front now. I folded the front into two. I like to go in from the waistline for the front. I like to go in by 1 inch from the waistline. From the hem of the fabric, you are going to mark 1 inch. That 1 inch, you are going to take it to the actual waist measurement. We are doing this to avoid all this folding on the front. This is optional, but I like to do mine like this. So from this point now, I'm going to cut it out. We are going to cut that 1 inch. Remember, from the center front, you are coming down by 1 inch. After that, you are going to connect that 1 inch with a slanted line to the actual waist line. So this is it here. I cut out the lining and the fabric together. So this is the main fabric for the back. Here is the back now, and this is the lining for it. I already cut out the lining for it. So this is the second one. When I'm cutting out the lining, I remove 2 inches from the lining, as you can see, because I don't want the lining to be poking out on from the main fabric. That is why I remove 2 inches. So if you are making your own, make sure you remove the excess on the lining. Now come to the hem of the fabric. Now you are going to pin the lining and the main fabric. You are going to pin them together. Then you are going to take it to your sewing machine and go ahead to go and sew it by half or quarter of an inch. After sewing the down parts, you will come to the upper parts also. Then you are going to drag the lining to meet the hem of the main fabric like this, and you are going to pin this place as well. After pinning it, you are going to sew this place also by quarter or half of an inch. I had half of an inch to this point, so I'm going to sew it by half of an inch. After sewing the upper part and the hem of the fabric, now I'm going to, because we are sewing a very neat skirt, so if I drag it now, this is how it's going to be. So I'm going to sew the side also. I'll go ahead to sew the side by quarter of an inch. Remember, we had 1.5 inch for the seam allowance at the side. So from that 1.5, that is where I'm taking the quarter of an inch. I will do the same thing on the second part also. I will sew it by quarter of an inch. When I about to get to the hem of the fabric, now I'm going to leave like 5 inches that I'm going to use to turn it out. So this is it here. You are going to repeat the same process. You are going to repeat it for the front and the back. This is the front now. You will open it up. You are going to place your lining on it. After placing the lining, you are going to pin the hem of the lining. You are going to pin it together with the main fabric. After pinning it, you are going to sew it by quarter of an inch. This is the hem of the fabric. You sew it by quarter of an inch. This is it here. Then you are going to drag the lining to meet the upper part also like this. So you are going to pin that part also. I'm explaining it again because I want the beginner in our midst to understand what we are doing. So after that, you pin it together and you are going to sew it by quarter or half of an inch depending on allowance you added at this place. So this is it now, and this is how the hem will be. This is how the hem of the fabric will be. You will notice that the lining is shorter than the main fabric. Then you are going to sew the side by quarter of an inch also. You are going to repeat this same process for the both sides. Remember, this is the front. Then don't forget to leave the 5 inches that you are going to turn this fabric out. We are sewing the wrong side, so you need to turn it to the right side. So let's go and do that now, and I will come back to show you the next thing. So this is it now. I already go ahead to join it. This is what we have, and this is the opening part. If you have excess at this upper part, you are going to trim it off. After trimming now, you are going to place your hand inside the opening part. and you are going to bring it out. This is it now. After you are done turning it, this is the opening now. You can take it to the sewing machine now and go ahead to go and close that part. You are going to sew it very close to the hem of it. Now I'm going to go ahead to go and iron it very flat. This is it. After ironing it, I will go ahead to go and do the rest of the camera. So here, this is the front now. This is what we have. As you can see now, this is the opening part. Make sure you sew all the opening parts on all the pieces. So this is it here. This is the back. This is the two pieces for the back. So this is the opening part for the back. Don't forget to sew it. So this is what we have. This is the back now. I'll place the back on each other like this, making sure that the right side is facing each other. So now let's measure where we want to put our zipper. So to put the zip, I always use my waist to the hip line, which is from the waistline to the hip line is 10 inches. That is where my zipper is stopping. So I will mark 7.5. Remember, we had 1 inch for this zipper allowance and we already used 1/4 inch to sew it inside. So I mark 7.5 here. That's 3/4, and that is where I will be putting my zipper. Now let's mark where our slit is stopping. For my slit, I always use my waist to the knee line, but you can go up more than that if you want to your slit to be very open. But I always use my waist to the knee line to determine how I want my slit to be, how long I want it. So now I've marked my waist to the knee line. I have 22 there. I will check from the hem line to that place. I have 20 inches. Then I will take that 20 inches on the other parts, on the other side. I will take the 20 inches, and this is where my slit will be. You can go up more than this, depending on how review you want the slit side to be. Now this two parts is where I will be sewing now. I will mark the 3/4 now. I will mark it till I get to the to the waist to the knee. So you are going to mark the 3/4 now. So after that, you mark it down and you are going to take it to the sewing machine and go ahead to go and sew it from the 10 inches to that part, to the waist to the knee. So this part, this is where I'll be stopping, and this part is the zipper part now. So this is it now. I already joined it, and this is the opening part here. So this is it here. Now let's go and join the zipper now. So this is the opening part that we are going to attach our zip now. This is it here, and this is my zip here. I'm going to place it like this. Just watch what I'm doing closely. You are going to place it on your fabric like this. You can go ahead to pin it down, then you are going to sew it down. So this is it now. After I am done joining the zipper to the fabric, as you can see, I pin it. So if you are making your own, make sure you pin it. If you are a beginner, you don't know how to put a zip, you can pin it. So this is it here. I will remove the pins now and show you the next thing to do. I will turn it to the back now for you to see what we have there. So this is it now. This is what we have at this point. So if you open the zipper now, this is how it's going to be. So I'll cut out the excess on this part. After that, I will turn it to the back and go ahead to hide the part that I cut. I'll go ahead to sew it on the sewing machine. I will sew the second part also. So this is it now. This is what we have at this point. So this is it now. The next thing is to work on the slit. So I'm going to fold the sleeve part, the slit part. I'm going to iron it down like this. You are going to iron it. You are going to iron the both sides. This is it now. After I am done ironing it, this is what we have here. You are going to take your hemming gum. You are going to place it on that folded part, the place that you iron. You are going to place it inside. You are going to place it inside. After that, you are going to iron it down. You are going to repeat the same process for the other side also. This is it here. As you can see, the slit part is very neat. If you turn it to the back, this is how the back is. So this is it now. After that, I'll bring the front now and I'm going to place it on the back, making sure that the right side is facing each other. After placing it on each other, you are going to take your pins now and you are going to pin the both side. You are going to pin it together. After pinning it, you are going to go ahead to go and sew it by the allowance you added. So I'm going to sew it by 1¼ I'm going to sew the both side. After I am done sewing it, I will come back to show you the final look. This is it now. After I am done joining the both sides, this is what we have. As you can see now, the skirt is very neat. This is the slit side, and this is what we have all together. If you have watched this video to this point, thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video to your family and friends. So this is it now. This is the back. I've turned it to the right side. This is what we have. That is all for this today's tutorial. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.